Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second annual Find Your Cause community pitch event. We are so happy to be here with you tonight. Thank you so much for logging on and spending this Tuesday evening with us. We're going to get started on our pitch presentation, which is our formal program for the evening. But first, just some quick announcements and also just a little bit more about MYP. So Manchester Young Professionals, if you don't already know us, is an initiative of the Greater Manchester Chamber with the task of engaging, educating, and empowering young professionals and emerging leaders. We create opportunities for connectivity, education, and involvement in our workforce and community. Our mission is to engage, connect, and serve as the collective voice of young professionals by providing emerging opportunities for leadership, employment, and community building, to actively attract, retain, and develop a vibrant and collaborative network of young professionals in Manchester. So on behalf of MYP and the Greater Manchester Chamber, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. But first, a special thank you to all of our nonprofits participating tonight. 603 Forward, Children's Hospital at Dartmouth-Hitchcock, otherwise known as CHAD, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Elliott Health Systems, Franco-American Center, Friends of Anya, Girls Inc., Girls on the Run, Make-A-Wish, MPAL, Roca Kids Club, SJCS Meals on Wheels, Waypoint, and YWCA New Hampshire. Your passion and hard work make our community a better place every day, so thank you for your work. A huge shout out and thank you to our venue host this evening, New Hampshire Tech Alliance. They were helpful enough to help us transition this really popular in-person event to a virtual platform. And as you can see, Remo is definitely an innovative virtual platform, so we're so happy to be able to partner with them and be able to share their tech experience. Definitely make sure to visit their table and learn more about their innovative initiatives in the tech space here in Manchester and New Hampshire. This event would not be possible without the support of our MYP champion sponsors. So thank you and special shout out to our supporting sponsor, SNHU, and a special shout out to our presenting program sponsor, Dartmouth-Hitchcock Health, who has supported this event 2 years in a row. Dartmouth-Hitchcock has been a great supporter of our programs and continued partnership, and we're so appreciative of their work. So without further ado, I wanted to now introduce to you both, introduce to you all, Marlena and Carrie. Welcome, both of you. Marlena and Carrie are our co-chairs of the Community Engagement Committee at MYP. So welcome and thank you and have a great night.
All right, good evening. Thank you so much, Corinne. Corinne is amazing at the Chamber. She's going to be working behind the scenes and monitoring the chat. So please engage with the chat and have some good conversations as we continue on. So thank you again for joining us at our MYP's second annual Find Your Cause community pitch event. We like to think of this as like a Shark Tank style event, and we've had so much fun and we're really excited to try out this platform. So a goal of our committee is really just to engage you, the Greater Manchester young professionals, and opportunities to get more involved in the community. And, to also share that there are opportunities to get involved even while we're socially distancing or being remote. So this event was really developed by an amazing committee of volunteers to connect you with the nonprofit organizations and hopefully help you find your cause tonight. So if you are one of the committee members, please say hello in the chat right now. And if you're interested in joining our committee, we meet once a month and Tuesday mornings, and we'd love to have you. Can't forget to do a little plug there. And we can't thank them enough for all the hard work and dedication they've brought to this event. And many of them are here tonight. And so they'll be swinging by a bunch of different tables. And throughout the evening, feel free to use hashtag MYP, Find Your Cause. There's some really great social media that was done by Lauren at the Chamber in advance that shouts out a lot of the nonprofits at the tables and who are some of our pitch speakers tonight. And so we'd love to get you guys involved in that. So with that, I'll hand it over to Carrie, but have so much fun and keep the chats going and stay after the event so that way you can continue your conversations with the nonprofits. And before Carrie gets started, she's going to unmute herself. And so while Carrie is unmuting herself, I just wanted to let you know that, all right, some housekeeping. We've talked about our chat. There's also an attachment in the chat. So if you are pitching this evening, you can certainly use the attachment to upload any different materials that you want people to know about. But I guess while we give Carrie just another minute, I'm curious what everyone is drinking this evening. If everyone wants to drop in the chat what you're having for a cocktail.
Like stuff. It says my mic's on.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay. Wouldn't be able to get through a virtual event without one technical difficulty. And of course it's me. So you're welcome everyone, because everyone else is now in the clear. So tonight we have a ton of awesome nonprofits, and they're all represented at our virtual tabletops. So hopefully you guys kind of got a feel for that and got to circulate around the floor a little bit. And tonight's program is going to definitely be a little different than your normal nonprofit fair. It's more Shark Tank-esque, except in this case it's going to be a lot more fun because everyone's going to win in the end. So there's not going to be any losers out there because you're all going to be able to connect with your cause and find just the right organization to get involved in. So we will now welcome the organizations that will be pitching to you this event. Be kind to them. Only awesome feedback is welcome. The organizations have been asked to answer some of the same questions just so it's a little easier to compare apples to apples across all organizations, and you guys can be a better judge at who you want to get involved with or who speaks more to you. And presenting organizations will be sharing who they are and what they do, and most importantly, the positions they have to be filled by young professionals like you. So with that, I'm going to give it to Marlena to close this, and I'm going to shut my mic off.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, so now without further ado, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to our MC tonight. It's Molly Lewin Owen, and she's going to take it away. She's from 603 Forward, which is also a nonprofit and on the Community Engagement Committee, and we couldn't have done this event without her. So over to you, Molly, in the studio, signing off.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marlena, and thank you so much, Carrie. This is really fun. Not another Zoom. Really excited to be here with everyone tonight. So we're in for a real treat tonight. We have pitches from nonprofits in the Manchester area focusing on wellness, kids, mental health, crisis support, and so much more. So I'm really excited to be here, and I'm thrilled for all of you guys to be here as well. My name is Molly Lund Owen. I run 603 Forward, and I was invited to give a quick pitch about 603 Forward before we dive into the rest of our pitches this evening. 603 Forward is a nonprofit that helps young people speak up for issues that matter to them in New Hampshire and achieve positions of power in elected or appointed office themselves here in New Hampshire at a state or local level. So I'll tell my story briefly, and then I'll talk about a friend I'll call Katie for contrast and talk about why it's important for young people to speak up and take action in New Hampshire, especially in this state. So when my mom lost her battle with cancer, I was in college and I thought my world had ended. I served as mom's primary caregiver as her health deteriorated day by day over a really terrible summer. But I didn't realize until later how lucky I was not to need paid time off from work to help care for my mom during that summer. I had a flexible lifeguarding job. I lived with my dad. I was in college, and he provided my housing, my healthcare, and my food. So I'll contrast that story with a friend of mine I'll call Katie. Katie's partner struggles with a substance misuse disorder, and neither she nor her husband or ex-husband now can afford to take time off from work to care for him. Over the past couple of years, Katie has lost her home, her marriage, and almost her children to a car accident when her husband was driving impaired as his recovery had stalled. I met Katie while I was actually testifying for the first time at the State House in Concord in support of paid family medical leave. I was telling my story to a very intimidating panel of lawmakers and just sharing why I thought we should have paid family medical leave in New Hampshire. And Katie was telling her story too. Her story was, I thought, much more terrible and much more impactful. But Katie doesn't have time to run for office. She hardly has time to testify. She's got 3 kids. So maybe some of us have time to do that and have issues we care about. Maybe you care about climate change. Maybe you care about housing. Maybe you care about social justice. My organization hopes to connect you with lawmakers so you can speak up either in person or through email or phone voicemail messages to talk to your lawmakers and make sure they know about what matters to you. And also that you have the opportunity to seek elected or appointed office yourself in New Hampshire. So that's my brief pitch. Jump over to my table to learn how to sign up, either yourself or to nominate someone that you think is awesome to share their story or run for office. But at this point, I will get right into the reason we're here tonight, the other pitches we'll hear from, the other organizations we'll hear from this evening. So I'd like to welcome to our stage Holly Blanchard with CHADD. Holly, if you could join me, open your camera. Awesome, I'll introduce you and then I'll let you jump right in. So Holly is an event and project coordinator with the community relations team at Children's Hospital at Dartmouth-Hitchcock. Holly also works part-time as a traffic reporter from 95.7 WZID. She and her fiance just closed on their first home in Manchester this week, and Holly is also the co-chair of the Manchester Young Professionals Advisory Council. All right, Holly, the stage is all yours. Take it away for us.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Molly. And thank you to everyone who's on here this evening for taking some time out of your evening to learn more about some incredible nonprofits in our state. Children's Hospital at Dartmouth-Hitchcock, as some of you may or may not know, is New Hampshire's only comprehensive full-service children's hospital. We see over 95,000 children every single year, from everything from well care visits to the most complex childhood diseases. Every single one of our patients and their families are incredibly unique. And that's probably one of the most rewarding parts for me with CHADD, is having the ability to get to know some of these families whose kids were still are patients at CHADD. Most recently, I've had the opportunity to connect with 9-year-old Elliot Perry. Some of you may have seen Elliot recently on New Hampshire Chronicle. In 2011, Elliot was born almost 4 months early at just 1 pound, 9 ounces. His parents were told he would be given an 18% chance of survival. After 121 days in the intensive care nursery at CHADD, Elliot was released from the hospital and able to go home with his family. His parents give credit to CHADD for saving his life. Now, at 9 years old, Elliot has had more than 50 surgeries and procedures and continues to receive care at CHADD and is also an ambassador for CHADD. He's now currently working to provide playgrounds for other kids just like him at both our Lebanon campus and our Manchester CHADD location. He's calling his campaign the 121 campaign in honor of the 121 days in the intensive care nursery. Kids like Elliot inspire the work that we do, and as many nonprofits on here I'm sure can relate, we're hoping that in 2021 we'll be able to get back to in-person events, from our storybook ball, our CHADD All-Star football game, Battle of the Badges hockey and baseball games, and our CHADD Hero Half Marathon. We could not do the work that we do if it weren't for the many volunteers, hundreds of volunteers who help make these events successful. These events provide programs for kids like Elliot, like our Child Life program, our injury prevention program, our Family Center in Molly's Place. So while we may not be able to have our events in person right now, one of the needs we do have is to fill volunteer roles for our CHADD Community Engagement Council. We recently restructured our board and we're calling it our Engagement Council. And so we're looking for young professionals like you who have a passion to make a difference and a passion for helping make a difference in kids' lives. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can get involved with this volunteer board role or even future volunteer positions when we're able to get back in person, I'd love to talk more with you. Thanks so much and have a great rest of your night.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Holly. And you actually, we have a little sneaky time count on the side, but you beat it. You were within 3 minutes. So thank you so much for that. So up next, we have, oh, she has a timer too. You're so good. Oh my gosh, amazing. Up next, we have Lindsay Gilbert from the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Lindsay, if you could unmute yourself and join me on stage, I'll introduce you and then let you take it away. Awesome, welcome, Lindsay.
Hi.
Hi, so Lindsay Gilbert is a Senior Development Director at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. She and her husband live in Southern New Hampshire with their dog and 2 cats. When Lindsay isn't working to raise funds for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, she loves to try new outdoor activities, most recently triathlons and long distance swimming. Take it away, Lindsay.
Thank you so much, Molly. Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay, and I'm representing the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. CF is a life-shortening genetic disease that primarily affects the lungs and the pancreas. In short, it is a genetic mutation that messes with the salt balance that a person produces, making their mucus extra thick and sticky, allowing for viruses and bacteria to thrive and nutrients to be absorbed poorly. When the CF Foundation was established in 1955, there were no treatments and patients were not expected to live past age 5. Over the years, through our unique venture philanthropy model, we have made enormous changes, and the life expectancy is now into the 50s. And this is without considering the newest drug that we have on the market that works for about 90% of our population to correct the underlying cause of CF. But it's not a cure. I work with these 2 wonderful moms who are both active in organizing our events and on the committees. These moms were both pregnant around the same time and both found out that their kids had CF while they were pregnant. Both moms have amazing sons with CF. Both boys must do hours of airway clearance a day, which means strapping on a vest that vibrates while often using a nebulizer to get antibiotics into their lungs. This helps get that sticky mucus out of them. Both boys had to learn to swallow pills before they were 2 years old in order to digest their food better. Both boys must visit the doctor regularly for scheduled visits, and too often for multi-week inpatient care. But now we have a wonderful drug on the market that is approved for one of these little guys to take. It corrects the underlying cause of CF and has brought his salt levels down to what would be considered normal in a person without CF. This would not have happened without years of fundraising and supporting the research to develop these drugs. But this drug won't work for both boys because, we'll call him Ryan, is in the 10% of people with CF that have a nonsense mutation, which means we need to be more aggressive and targeted with our research to find a drug that will work for Ryan. And when we do that, we still won't have a cure. Both boys will still need to do treatments to stay healthy and take daily medication to help their body stave off infection, viruses, and lung disease. These moms are tireless in their pursuit for a cure, but they also have boys with time-consuming diseases, and we need your help to organize these fundraising events in order to maintain a robust pipeline of funds and research so that we can get closer to a cure. Would you consider joining us in helping to put on these fundraising events, such as Ski for a Cure, Taste for a Cure, Swing for a Cure, our golf event, Cycle for Life, and of course our staple Great Strides walks all over Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont to allow us to keep these funds flowing towards research? Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my pitch for cystic fibrosis. And if you are interested in helping out with coordinating any of these events, I'd love to talk to you later at my table. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Up next, we're going to cycle through these pretty quickly so you guys can get back to networking. Up next, we have Jana Stevens from the Manchester Police Athletic League, also known as MPAL. Jana, would you like to join me on stage? Excellent. Welcome, Jana.
Welcome. Thank you.
So Jana Stevens serves as the Director of Operations and Development at the Manchester Police Athletic League, otherwise known as MPAL. Jana is a mom, a wife, mom of 3 grown daughters, and a mom of 4 dogs. She is passionate about kids and about people who want to help kids. Jana's here to tell you why she thinks she is one of the luckiest people in the world. Welcome to the stage, Jana.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here because I get to talk about my favorite subject, the Manchester Police Athletic League. So if you only hear our name, it doesn't really reveal all the cool things that are happening in our facility beyond our amazing athletics. So if you're just getting to know us tonight, we are a safe haven for at-risk youth, ages 5 to 18, And the mission of MPAL is to connect police officers and other positive role models with the youth of Greater Manchester in hopes of getting kids off the street and creating healthy, confident, productive citizens. So here are some unique things that you might not know just by our name, but they are also places where you can have an impact. The Manchester Police Athletic League has an ambassador program for kids ages 14 to 18 to work on skills to prepare them for the workforce and independent living. Like we have professionals such as yourselves that come in and share their expertise, like in job interviewing and communication skills, personal finance, public speaking, and hospitality service. And I will throw in one fun fact about our athletics. We have the two-time world female arm wrestling champion as one of our coaches. So if you happen to be volunteering on a Wednesday, definitely step up to that table and give it a whirl. MPAL has partnered with the Manchester School District to make 5 of our programs worth high school credit. We have forensics, powerful voices, ambassadors, aikido, and boxing. Our cooking program runs with local professional chefs who come in and teach the kids not only how to prepare meals at home, but also how to keep kids safe in the kitchen. Our kids don't always have an adult available to supervise them. MPAL also has an accredited juvenile court diversion program that gives first-time nonviolent offenders a second chance to make the right choice. And lastly, because of our volunteers, and our donors, every program at MPAL is offered for free. And so the ability to pay is never a barrier to participation. So why do I call myself the luckiest girl in the world? It's because I love to go to work and witness magic. There is a real magic when you get to see the positive transformation of a child. And sometimes that magic change is as quick as pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer to be revealed. My friend Victor is just one story of when magic happened at MPAL. Victor came to MPAL when he was 12 years old, and he's the youngest of a family of 8. And he'll tell you it's not that his parents didn't love him, it's just they didn't have time. His brothers got involved in gangs and took a negative road, and Victor chose to come to MPAL. He had a great relationship with the MPAL officer and the other kids in the boxing program, and they became sort of a pseudo family. But today, Victor is 28, and he's much like you. He's a young professional, he's married, has young children. He still has a relationship with his mentors from MPAL. But the best thing about Victor is he comes back to coach and mentor kids at our facility every week. Right now is your opportunity to have a part in stories like Victor's. Magic takes many forms, but the cool thing I've learned over the years is that you don't need training to be part of it. America runs on Dunkin's, but MPAL runs on volunteers. Come be part of the magic. Thank you for your time.
Amazing, Jana. Thank you so much. I love that. All right, up next we have Katie Parent from the YWCA of New Hampshire. Katie, feel free to join me on stage. Welcome. So Katie Parent is the director of Reach Crisis Services at YWCA New Hampshire. Katie is a Manchester resident and loves talking with others about her organization's work and hearing more about the work of others in her community. Welcome to the stage, Katie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for being here tonight and for, I'm loving hearing what everyone else is up to and about all these other organizations. So thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about YW. So as Molly said, I am the program director of our Reach Crisis Services program, which is just one program of YWCA New Hampshire. So our mission, we are a local association of a national organization. There's YWs all over the country. There's, I think, 260 something across the whole United States. We are the only one here in New Hampshire. Nationally, our mission is focused on eliminating racism and empowering women. So we are a social justice organization to our core. and what that work looks like in each community, you know, here in Manchester, New Hampshire versus like Los Angeles, California looks very differently. Here in New Hampshire, we have 3 major programs. We have Reach Crisis Services, the Center for New Americans, which is a partnership with Southern New Hampshire University. And then finally, we have the WELL space, which we love our acronyms, right? Reach, CNA, and the WELL are all acronyms. So I'll kind of tell you what each one of those looks like. But a fun fact about us is we actually just turned 100 years old back in late September. So we look pretty good for our age, if I do say so myself. But we've been doing work here in New Hampshire for 100 years, which is like crazy, but wonderful. So I'll start with Reach because that is the program that I oversee, which is pretty awesome. It is one of the 13 crisis centers in the state of New Hampshire, serving survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking primarily. Within this program, we have a lot of different services that we offer, including a 24/7 hotline. We have walk-in services available to folks. We do accompaniments out to places like hospitals, police departments, courthouses. We also operate an emergency shelter program, as well as some housing assistance programs, and many, many, many other things, including some community education, prevention, and outreach programming as well. So the main volunteer opportunity within that program is for our crisis hotline. So if folks are interested, we conduct a training twice a year where folks can be covered under our confidentiality and learn how to advocate and support survivors of violence in our community. So that's one opportunity that's available. And it's pretty rewarding, if I do say so myself. And then we have the Center for New Americans, which is a partnership with Southern New Hampshire University. The largest program that they offer is the Amico Youth Program, which serves it's open to all youth in the community, but it is conducted with a lens of English language learners. And it's definitely targeted more towards children in our community who are within families that are immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, things like that. They also, their main goal is to provide a pathway, creating pathways to higher education and eventually employment. So they have other programs that adults can access that end that have that end goal in mind. And then lastly, we have the WELL space, which is really more of like a cooperative. So it's essentially a space in our building, a hallway with 3 classrooms that we have available to really anyone and everyone who's interested in hosting some sort of program that involves things along the lines of wellness, education, language, and learning. So we've had like some positive sex education courses, healthy sexuality courses. We've had folks come in and just do like crafting classes. So it really runs like a pretty wide gamut. It's really just intended to be a community space that folks can come in and share some knowledge and receive some knowledge, which is really pretty cool. And then we also just do a lot of like community-based work and events. We've had some youth listening sessions for the BIPOC youth in our community during these times of like Black Lives Matter and, you know, sort of the election and all of these really key social justice issues going on in our community. We've had some events, socially distanced, of course, to allow youth to really express their feelings and have the adults and the professionals kind of take a step back and listen to what they're experiencing and what they're seeing in the community. And we've also, we also host a lot of Manchester Outright events, which is similar to Seacoast Outright. It's focusing on the LGBTQ+ youth. So we have tons of volunteer opportunities, including the crisis line, assisting with special events. Our finance committee needs some folks, our development committee needs some folks, and we also need some folks who are interested in running some children's activity groups and facilitating some stuff like that. So if anyone has any special skills they'd like to teach some kiddos, please reach out. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be back at my table later, and thank you all so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Katie. Up next on stage, we have Christine Phillips from the Friends of Anya Center for Grieving Children and Families. Welcome, Christine. Along with her husband, David, Christine Phillips is the co-founder of the Friends of Anya Center for Grieving Children and Families. As Executive Director, Christine is dedicated to providing peer-to-peer support services, advocacy, and resources for grieving children, teens, and adults. She is the editor for Child Loss at bellaonline.com. She's a member of the Elliott Hospital Pediatric Bereavement Committee and also a member of the National Alliance for Grieving Children. Christine serves in honor of her beautiful daughters, Anya and Bella, and for all the silent and forgotten mourners whose story is left unheard. Welcome to the stage, Christine.
Thank you, Molly, and thank you, everybody, for giving us this time today. This is a real opportunity for us. We are trying to get our name out into the community more and spread the word about grief and child bereavement. So we're very, really grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you today. So who are we? Friends of Anya is a center for grieving children and families. Our sole mission is to support these families, and we are the only organization in New Hampshire who is currently doing this. We started back in 2013 as a fundraising organization, and just a few years ago turned ourselves into a full-fledged center to offer support groups to children ages 4 through 18. Anya died in 2010. And through that tragedy, David and I have learned that child bereavement is a real issue in our state. We have a surviving daughter, Bella, who was 5.5 at the time Anya died. And we watched her struggle with 2 grieving parents and trying to get support for herself. So we got involved with another organization and started to support kids who have suffered from a significant death in their family. Most of the kids we see have lost a parent or a sibling, but some of them are with us because of foster parents or grandparents that have been raising them that have died. We are, all of our services are free. It's something important to share. And we offer groups right now remotely for our children online. Sorry, I've lost track there. The important thing to tell everybody today and to pass the message on about today is that 1 in 13 children in the state of New Hampshire are bereaved before the age of 18. That's a staggering statistic when you consider that the average classroom size is more than 13 children. So it's at least 1 child to every classroom right now that is experiencing loss. And this doesn't include kids who have had a loss outside of their parent figures or their siblings. And children who are not supported in their early phases of grief can develop very serious emotional and behavioral problems like depression and anxiety. We see self-harm, children getting involved in criminal activity, substance misuse, and many other things. So the research shows that participation in peer-to-peer support programs can significantly reduce some of these issues and problems that children might face later on in life. We do a peer-to-peer support model. We offer that model specifically because children come together with other kids who experience what they've experienced. So they share something in common. They understand one another a lot better. Kids will go to school and say, they don't get me. They don't understand what I've been through. And it's true. You can't compare a child who's lost their dad with a child who might think that the loss of their cat is just as significant. Unfortunately, they don't feel like they fit in. And so a peer-to-peer model puts them in a position to feel, to not feel alone, to be in a place of safety and warmth, and give them an opportunity to express their story and how they're feeling. Through our groups, we try to teach them learning or helping them to learn coping skills that they can take with them that will hopefully help them in their journey through their grief, but also through their journey through life. Helping them to understand that they can manage their grief, they can integrate their grief into their life, and that they can be okay going forward. There needs to be a message of hope for these kids. And that's the hope, that it is okay to be okay eventually. In our first year of running programs, Friends of Anya grew 146%. That is an amazing statistic in the sense that the need is so great for our services. Again, our services are free. We don't get any state funding. All of our money and revenue is generated through events, through individual donors and grants. How can you help us? Well, there's a lot of ways because we need a lot of help. Volunteer. Number one, we need volunteers. Those who will go through a 20-hour training program with us to become a group facilitator and work directly with our kids, which I think is probably the most rewarding job you could have with us. In the sense that you get to change, you can change the trajectory of a child's life. That's the work that we do, and you can become part of that as a volunteer in our groups. You can volunteer to help with our events. We run a few events every year, one of them being a kids triathlon that has over 300 kids participate. And it is a huge success and just a really great time. And we need over 100 volunteers for that event. We're also looking for your expertise pro bono. So if anybody has some legal skills or some policy and procedure skills, things like that, that you would be willing to offer, we'll take it. And lastly, we're looking for folks who would like to serve on our board. We aren't a board looking, or we aren't an organization looking for board members with deep pockets. We are looking for board members who want to work hard, who are dedicated and believe passionately in our mission. And if that's you, we'd love to talk further. And one more thing is help to raise awareness about child bereavement. Again, people don't know that this is a public health issue. I'm all done. Thanks.
Great. Amazing. Thank you so much, Christine. And thank you again to all the organizations who pitched with us tonight. That was really fun. I think everyone deserves a round of applause. If we could do a little virtual round of applause. Amazing. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Dartmouth-Hitchcock, SNHU, and NHTA, once again, for all their support tonight. And to everyone who's here, we hope to see you at another MIP event really soon. We have some really great programming options. They're all unique and different, and we're always trying to find ways to engage everyone. In that, on that thread, Corinne's going to drop a survey link in the chat that you can fill out to tell us at Manchester Young Professionals what is interesting to you and how you'd like to get involved on a committee, at an event, or if you have some fun event ideas. That would be great as well. Right before I send us back to our networking tables, I'd love to invite our speakers to join me on stage for a speaker's photo. So feel free to click your camera and join us on stage for a photo. But I really hope everyone found their cause tonight. I'll let you enjoy this time networking and checking out the virtual tables. Corinne will send a follow-up with our information so that you can learn more and get involved with all these organizations. And we really hope that tonight has helped you find your cause. So thank you. Corinne, tell us when to smile.
Okay, hold on.
Great.
I thought I could do it one way, but I'm going to have to do it this way. I'm going to count down. So 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you, guys.
Awkward.